Hello and welcome to a scene for Rage Across New York. Today Alicia is going in search of some advice from a glasswalker. Now, Donald is busy, and Glasspaw, the one that she also knew, is also busy, so she needs to try and find another glasswalker. So her best bet is to go looking in a kinfolk-run internet cafe coffee bar place where a lot of the glasswalker kinfolk hang out, because at least they might be able to point her in the right direction if there isn't one of the Garou there. Fortunately, with Scent of the True Form, she can probably zero in on the one Garou who is present at the time fairly easily.
As she walks into Grindbite, BYTE, she is flooded with the sounds of people talking, the sounds of keyboards tapping from laptops, the sound of some trendy electronic music playing softly in the background can be heard. The level of hipster attire is extremely high inside the confines of this establishment. The instances of top knots and half-shaven heads and any manner of trendy attire is seen throughout.
Alicia, on the other hand, is wearing her usual vest, top, and jeans.
She has her pick of the establishment as far as individuals she can talk to. She has Scent of the True Form, correct?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so there's Garou and Kin in here in abundance. But a man who seems to be kind of sitting off on his own with a e-cigarette in his mouth, sort of a vaporizer, tapping away at his computer, seems to be the most likely to, well, maybe take up conversation, as everyone else seems to be very ingrained in what they're doing with one another.
So Alicia's going to make her way over to the table a little warily. Not really, she doesn't want to interrupt, but she's not really sure how else to start this conversation. And she's just going to stand behind one of the chairs next to him, next to the table, and clear her throat slightly.
There's a long pause before he just sort of inclines his head ever so slightly and his eyes roll up to regard her. And there seems to be a silence as he seems to be waiting for her to say something.
Hi, I was just wondering if I could talk to you, if you're not too busy.
His lips kind of tighten slightly as he moves the e-device in his mouth from one side to the other. And he'll sort of sit back up from his hunched over position for typing and simply use his foot to push the chair out on the other side of him.
Thanks. And Alicia will sit down. I'm Alicia Hayward. I don't believe we've met, but we both kind of frequent the same park, I'm assuming.
He'll nod.
So, I heard a while back from Glasspaw that you can make some special phones, and I was hoping I could get some advice on doing that.
There's another long pause as his eyes narrow slightly, looking at Alicia. He takes the e-cigarette from his mouth, holds it in between his fingers, licks his lips slightly. So you're looking into what exactly? What have you heard?
He said that they can work. She glances around, not entirely sure if there's any humans rather than just kinfolk and Gara here. Extra long distance.
He rolls his shoulders slightly. Extra long distance.
Like, basically anywhere.
Anywhere. Do you want to elaborate for me?
Well, the Umbra and the Dark Umbra.
So, you want to get your hands on a fetish phone?
A few actually, because I think they seem really useful, and my pack could use them. So I know how to make fetishes, so I figured I could use some advice on how to go about doing that in specific.
Well, it's a solid start for theory, I have to admit.
I mean, I know that the spiders like smartphones, so I thought maybe they would be interested. But I don't know if they will do the job. Or she shrugs.
Well, Alicia, you said, right?
Yes.
Alicia. Not to say that I'm inclined or disinclined to tell you what I know. The simple fact of the matter is, I can't necessarily help you, as in, I don't know how to make them. But there's someone that might. The only problem is he's a wily little bastard. He's not easy to find. And he's not necessarily of our ilk, though he is a welcome guest of the sept.
Well, I met a spider lady, and she was quite cool.
Don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Well, if they're not exactly like us, but they're welcome, then I figured maybe it's some other kind of creature rather than a wolf. But
How much do you know about the Korax?
They're the bird people, right?
You kind of nods. Yeah.
I've never met one, but I was supposed to be trying to meet one, and then that all kind of went a bit sideways, and Chases the Storm was never around at the time, and I assumed they left, but she shrugs.
There's one of those bastards somewhere around the city. They never stay in one place for long, so trying to track him down is not going to be an easy matter.
Well, if you've got his name, then it shouldn't be too hard. I mean, just right of the questing stone.
Okay, if that's what you think you can use to find him.
If you've got his name, that is. I mean,
Oh, I certainly have his name.
okay.
So I think giving it to you might cause him to get a little miffed with me, and I like having good relations with this guy. So
that might be a problem. But I would have thought that would do the job. It generally does. She shrugs again.
Well, it does do the job, but some people do enjoy the privacy. Something I'm sure anybody can appreciate, correct?
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously, if there's somewhere we can leave a message for him or something like that, that might be a better plan. Then that's definitely a better way to go. But I'm just saying, finding him won't necessarily be hard. It's just not necessarily the best way to do it.
Well, if I give him a bit of a communication, he'll answer it when he wants to. That's the first thing. The second thing is he doesn't work for free, and I don't either. And he sits back kind of with a smile on his face.
Okay.
So, unlike a lot of other Garu out there, I'm pretty simple when it comes to what I need, what I want. I want to keep my information network flowing. I want to be able to bring new elements into it fluidly. And to do that requires a certain level of capital.
Right. I don't really have a great deal of money.
Well, I will give you two options. A, you pay me, we'll say a total of 5,000. 2,000 up front, and then when you can get it, the other 3,000. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because you're of the sect. The other one is much more difficult. He says, you see, I have a few devices myself. Listening devices, as they are. They're experimental, but I think that they are a step forward in glasswalker technology. And if I can prove that, it'll improve my standing within the tribe. Possibly the sept, hell, even the nation, if we want to get grandiose.
Okay, so what would you need to do to prove them? I mean, what is the improvement aim?
Well, I want to prove that they work, first and foremost. And to do that, I need to put them in places where their ability is going to be tested to its fullest extent.
So, like, on the midsection bit of a freeway or something, and see if you can hear over the traffic noise?
No, that's not exactly what.
Marvelous.
That's pretty mundane. I could do that. I could make a device like that in an afternoon. This is something a little bit more on the umbral side.
Okay, so you need to put it somewhere in the Umbra.
I want to see how well they do in the cyber realm. But last time I went to the cyber realm, I came back with this, and he'll hold up his arm and roll up his sleeve all the way up to his shoulder as best he can. You can see this sort of, if you've ever seen, like, gold inlay on a PC board.
Yep.
It looks very, has very sharp lines and things of that nature. Like, basically looks like circuitry almost woven into the arm. Not necessarily in the form of, like, actual machinery, but it's like just like a black mark that doesn't look like a tattoo. It actually looks more like a scar or a wound.
Okay, but I mean, if the test is to see if they'll work in the mbra, why would the cyber realm be different to the other places?
Because the cyber realm is so vastly different than any place that we normally tread. That's the Weaver's territory. It's dangerous. Unfortunately, my specific condition makes it hard for me to go into the Umbra outside of the Sept.
Okay.
Pattern spiders love me now.
Well, if they love you,
that's more
do they love you in a positive way that's just annoying, or in a dangerous way? Because I was going to say, maybe you could ask one of them to take it there.
They love me in the fact that they want to make me part of the web.
Oh, okay, so that's not so helpful.
Yeah, that was a bit of a panic for me, getting dragged towards the actual pattern web. I don't want to do that again.
No, I can understand. So basically, you need to get these things into the cyber realm.
I have very specific areas I want you to put them, but yes.
See, that makes it even more complicated.
Well, I did offer you the cash route.
So finding the places is going to be hard.
Well, I know people that can get you there. That will happily get you there, actually. But once you're there, you have to deal with...
The happily get you there bit brings all the kind of alarms about getting back.
Let's just say some of the theurges of my tribe are... How can I put this? They're not looking to throw you into any danger, but they do like to observe what happens when someone does something that's dangerous, so to speak. They're, I guess in a way you might call them scientists, if that makes any sense.
Right.
They like to study. So you do that.
It might be easier just to ask the pattern spiders to deliver the packages to the different parts of the cyber realm in return for some noses or something. I understand why you can't ask them. Just that might be an easier route.
Well, things get wonky in the cyber realm, and anything associated with the Weaver there, I don't want to say is plugged in, but they're plugged in. That's why we're able to operate a little bit with anonymity there, so to speak, because we're not plugged in.
Okay, but if all you're doing is testing out the systems rather than spying on parts of the cyber realm, then...
He kind of just smiles and looks away.
Right. See, that's a whole different thing.
2 birds, 1 stone?
See, that's the real reason you can't ask the pattern spiders to take it, isn't it? Because they'll know where it is.
He holds up both hands. I'm afraid, Miss Haywood, you have caught me. I tried doing it before. They got kind of angry. They tried to integrate me. And I came away with a nice, lovely scar that makes it nearly impossible for me to go in there without being caught.
Right. So basically, it's not just a trip to the cyber realm, which is dangerous enough in itself. It's spying on the cyber realm.
Frankly, I don't think they're going to make a disassociation between the two. It's a dangerous place,
one
Miss
involves
Hayward.
going to a variety of places that happen to be in the cyber realm, and one involves going to the places that are most likely to be the most guarded places, seeing as they'd be the most interesting places to spy on.
Well, when you put it like that, that really makes it sound terrible.
Well, it definitely sounds like a much bigger favor than asking a Korax to talk to me.
Well, that's... You could think, you think that, and he sits forward. But let me tell you something about L. L is a opportunistic little weasel. And if I go to him for a favor, he's going to ask me for a favor. And I already owe him several. And I will be honest with you.
Well, you wouldn't be going to him for a favor. You'd be letting him know that someone wants a favor from him.
That's the thing, though. He only works on referrals.
Yeah, so you'd be referring the fact that I want to ask him for a favor. So you'd be giving him information.
Well, you see, the thing about it is... Oh, man, they're going to hate me anyway. Okay. And he kind of gestures her closer.
Mm-hmm. She'll lean in a bit.
You see, those particular phones that someone might have mentioned to you, they're not exactly the Korax's by design. They originally belonged to us, but they stole the designs, according to some of our tribal elders. And apparently there are those that say that they're even better than what we had designed.
Okay.
So getting one and giving it to anyone within the Garu Nation is going to be a huge thing for El.
Yeah, but I
he's
don't
not
want
opposed
him
to
to get one. I want him to. Well, I mean, it's actually probably bigger, but I'm trying to figure out how to make them myself, because I figured that it would be easier to do that than to.
Well, if the Glasswalkers can't make them right now, and he just kind of, gestures as if to say...
I thought you guys could. I mean, I found one when we were on the giant umbral crab ship thing. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Oh, we heard about it. We're still trying to track that fucking thing down.
Right, well, I found...
For a giant crab thing,
that's how I was able to tell the spider lady to warn the Sept that someone was being skinned. But I don't know where it's gone now.
Well, see, the thing is that our devices don't necessarily work as well as we'd hoped.
Okay.
So, El's not going to give you the designs. I can tell you that right now. His people would skin him, or, well, I guess they would really pluck him devoid of feathers. Anyways, they wouldn't let him give away the designs. But he might be able to get you some and have them particularly tailored to your needs.
Okay.
But it's going to be an imposition for him, and he is going to hold me accountable for bringing you to him. If you can make sense of that. We have a pretty weird dichotomy going on.
That does seem pretty weird. I mean, you know him better than I do, so if that's the way he'll interpret it, then that's the way he'll interpret it. But I mean, it makes more sense that he would, charge me, not you. I don't know.
Like I said, he's an opportunistic little weasel.
So he'll probably try charging both of us?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could always just tell him next time you won't bring him the referral if he's going to charge you for just telling him about people that want to deal with him.
I need him more than he needs me.
Okay.
So,
Like I said, that side of things doesn't make sense, but you know his logic more than I do, so just because it's illogical doesn't mean that's not how he's going to think of things. But yeah, this seems like a pretty big favor with the hiding things in the cyber.
well, so here's the lovely thing, though, is they're not necessarily looking for you. It's kind of like, you know,
I suppose we do have Chimera's blessing, which would help.
so as long as you guys are smart about what you're doing, you'd be okay, I would think. I mean, granted, there's definitely risk involved. And I'll even sweeten the deal for you. Just because, you know.
I
Well,
worked out the fact that you were trying to tell me it was one thing and it's actually 3 or 4 things.
you know, when you keep putting things like that, it makes me seem like a really horrible person.
No. Let's put it this way. I used to think that everybody was going to be nice and try and work together, and then people tried to plan on ambushing me. So, you know, I've started looking for these things now.
Well, then you're learning. Nobody does anything out of just pure altruism. Nobody.
That's not true.
Well, if I ever see an example of it, I'll let you know. Anyway.
I've seen several. Admittedly, they've mostly been me, but I've seen several.
Fair
So
enough.
they happen. It's just
You'll have to excuse me, I'm being jaded. But
I definitely can understand why.
He kind of looks at her with a quizzical expression, but he's not going to pry.
I wish I couldn't understand why you'd be jaded, but I definitely can.
If you manage to get these things in place, there's certain information that would come from it. Something that would help us in our endeavors against the Weaver, possibly the Worm. Not necessarily sure how much information the Weaver keeps on its aberrant cousin, so to speak. But it might make things a little easier for you traveling around the Umbra outside of the Sept and areas that are still wild held. It might mean that you have an idea of where hunter spiders are and other Weaver threats, rather than just kind of hoping that they're not in one place and hoping they're not in, places that you need to go.
They generally aren't in the places that I need to go lately, but then the places that I need to go lately have shifted slightly. But anyway, so let me get this straight. You want to spy on the cyber realm, partly to prove your designs.
Yes.
So that's the bit that's for you.
Yes.
And then it's also going to help. How? With the information?
Well, if we have an idea of what the minions of the Weaver are up to, if we can get some ideas of their movements in the Umbra, we might be able to have our people travel safer when moving about in the Umbra in the cityscape.
Okay. Why didn't you start with that bit?
Well, because then that just makes it sound bland.
No, that makes it sound like it's important for more than just you.
Well, Alicia, I am a Galliard. I have to talk these things up.
Okay. So, hopefully this will be a sneaking mission.
Hopefully.
So I'd need to sneak in and put these things down and sneak out again. Right?
Yes. Well, you kind of have to install them, but they're not too hard to. They're a little bit plug and play. If you've ever, I don't know if you've ever been to the cyber realm, but they have some really weird interfaces there. But it's almost like being in a computer sometimes.
Okay. I'm not really that good with computers. I'm okay with them, but
How's your pack on computers? He says it's just a little bit more staley. Suddenly realizing, oh, this may not be the one for me.
Well, Donald's a glass walker, so presumably he's fairly good at it.
Oh, okay, we're good.
But at the same time, I'm not sure he'd be the safest in the cyber realm.
Great guy. Okay, lay it on me. Tell me, what's this Donald like?
No, he's a good guy. He's just I'd rather not risk him on something that's kind of.
I would say that going in there without a glass walker might be a bad idea.
Okay, so we probably have to take him in.
Plus, a good experience for him anyway. If he's definitely not a foster, or I would have heard about him. He's got to be a cub.
Clear.
Same difference. So, are you up for money, or are you up for helping me out?
Well, it definitely seems like the helping you out is a lot bigger than the money. But at the same time, it's something that might actually be useful for the nation and not just for you. So I think that seems like the better option.
All right. And he immediately goes to his bag and pulls out a tablet and opens it up. And you see when he sets it in front of you, it looks like a PDF document. This is simply a contract working out that you will hold me not responsible for anything that should happen to you in the causes of the Umbra, that you are under a 30-day contract when it comes to employment under me, which will require at least 14 days notice of termination of said contract.
No.
It's an insurance policy.
No, I mean, I'm going in there, so it's my responsibility that I'm going in there, but I'm not being employed by you. I'm just kind of...
Well, you kind of are, and he flips through a couple pages. As you'll see here in Article 10, Section B, this is also a non-disclosure agreement on any instances that you may be told about, briefed, or otherwise find out about proprietary information when it comes to the devices in question.
I wouldn't understand anything that I'd learned from the devices in question.
Still, this is just simply a non-disclosure agreement. Anything that you do here is subject to a legally binding gag order.
She's going to look at him quite suspiciously. After all of the stuff that you've already tried to pull over on me, by saying that this is just testing the items and just sneaking into the cyber realm and dropping a few off. Now I know that there's the specific places that I need to go. And now I find out that you've had this sitting around.
Well, okay, let me ask you something. How much do you know about Silicon Valley and the tech business?
Isn't that where they build most of the software?
Software, hardware, pretty much anything involved with the tech trade.
And I think, well, I know silicone, isn't that in glass?
It's just kind of more of a term. Silicon Valley really isn't all it used to be anymore. You really got to go to DC for most of the big tech jobs these days, anyway. Okay. The tech business.
How about we strip this all down really very simply? I agreed to do my best to put these items in the right places, and not to blame you if I get hurt. You agreed to pass this message along to Al and to use the information you get from the cyber realm to help the Garou Nation. Now, you can use some of it to help you as well, but you've got to agree to use some to help the Garou Nation, which is pretty much a given.
Well, that's all in here. You know, it's towards the back.
No.
He pushes the tablet towards you. See, right here. You know, it's towards the back.
Well,
it's on page like 124, I think. Again, he keeps nudging the tablet towards you.
Right. I'm not going to sign a 100-odd page contract that I A, haven't read, B, probably wouldn't understand if I did read, and C, is already ready before I've even spoken to the person that is asking me to do these things. So if we just write it down very, very simply.
This is simple. I mean, yes, it kind of goes on
There's
and
100
picks it back up and he flips through them. I mean, yeah, okay, so legal mumbo jumbo, non-disclosure, death and infirmity clause, no rights to any proceeds afterwards. Oh, here's a good bit. Will be credited as a contributor in all presentations thereafter.
She's just going to look at him. Let's see if we can get this all onto one page. If we can fit it all on one page, and not in teeny tiny print, has to be at least size 12 font.
Hey, this...
In a reasonable... No, I'm just saying if we're trying to fit it onto the one page, it needs to be at least size 12 font. And in a normal kind of font print, not one of the ones that ends up really tiny.
Well, you know, I spent like 3 hours working on this.
Or something.
Do you realize I put a lot of effort into this contract?
Yes, I do realize you put a lot of effort into this. I also realize that you've already tried pulling the wool over my eyes 3 times in this conversation.
I didn't try and pull the wool over your eyes. I just neglected to mention a few things.
Precisely. And this is a 100-odd page document. It's going to take me hours to read this. So...
He looks at his watch and then looks at you. I've got time.
Yes, but I'm not going to spend hours reading this super long document knowing that I'll probably end up missing stuff when you've already tried to leave stuff out. So, like I said, fit it onto one page.
Okay, all right.
Just the basic stuff, like...
Hang on. He takes his tablet away, pulls out another one. Here's the 10-page document version.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute, hang on. And he looks at it and very quickly erases the name out of the I blank space, agree. Oh, yeah, okay, don't need that anymore. Here you go. He smiles.
She's going to give him another suspicious look.
Somebody pulled out of the contract at the last minute.
And who was that?
It's not important.
By pulled out of the contract, do you mean died trying to do it?
I'm going to say that he wasn't actually covered in the duties of what he was doing under the contract. He was doing a scouting mission, which I advised him against. Because at the time, there was kind of a thing going on because the storm made things go haywire for a while there in the cyber realm from everything I heard. So, he kind of gestures. Yeah, he went there, and I believe he is a data stream now. But he was foolish.
Right.
You strike me as somebody who's smart, Miss Haywood. I have to say.
Right. And she's going to start looking over the 10-page document. And basically anything that she doesn't understand, she's going to highlight and delete.
He'll wait and wait and wait, and finally when you hand it back, he'll look at it. Okay, well, if you see this right here, this basically forbids you, under legally binding spiritual contract, from disclosing any information about my devices to anybody without my express written consent.
I'm going to say about the technical stats of your devices. Because
Well, you may not necessarily understand them, but somebody who's very...
anything about the nature of the devices in themselves, but I'm allowed to say to like Blitzkrieg or whoever, if someone ends up else being the warden or whatever, that these things exist.
You
and
can
where I put them.
You can use, as you see stated here, you can use the term device, proprietary, and confidential when describing them to people outside of this contract.
And that they gather information. The nature of the information I probably won't understand anyway, but the fact that they gather information.
That's not covered under the contract.
The devices gather information. That phrase.
That phrase is, I'm afraid, banned by the contract.
Well, we need to edit that bit then.
But then people will know what I'm doing. And then they'll get the same idea, and then suddenly it won't be my idea, it'll be everybody's idea. And then there's no...
They won't know how you're doing it.
But you see, if I go and make a security situation about this, everybody steps in. Administration steps in, and there's no exclusive rights for anybody.
That's why I don't tell them until after we've done this, and then you can say, look what I've done.
He narrows his eyes, starts grumbling as he types in a few things.
Because I'm just saying, if Blitz needs to get information on where the net spiders are, he needs to know that you're the person to come and get the information from. So I need to say these things gather information.
Just stares at her. Or actually, he's kind of leering at her for a moment.
It's basically the stuff you've already told me before signing this contract.
Okay, there we go. This second part. This basically says that I am not liable if you should happen to get yourself assimilated into a data stream, hardware, software, or made into a sprite.
I am going to need that bit edited to say, unless you have deliberately withheld information that would have prevented it.
But why would I put you in danger when you're putting my devices in there?
I don't know. Why do you not want Blitzkrieg knowing that they're gathering information?
I don't want anybody knowing they're gathering information until they're already there.
Yeah, I never said anything about telling him before they're there.
Make me a charisma and expression roll, difficulty 8, to try and convince him to change that bit. Because he doesn't want to be held responsible if you guys mess up.
Well, like I said, it's not if we mess up, it's if he's deliberately not told me something, considering the fact that he's kept not telling me stuff.
I know, just go ahead and roll it.
Okay. So, charisma.
And expression.
And expression. Plus a willpower.
Good call.
Because she's basically being stubborn. Doopy-doo, doopy-doo-poo. Damn it. It's only the one success from the willpower. Stupid ones.
He looks at her.
We're in a cafe full of glasswalkers.
Yes.
I don't know if any of them, any of the rest of them, know about this Raven person.
They do, but I'm the only one that has good terms with him.
So, all I'm saying is you've kept not telling me stuff that might actually be important for making these decisions. Things like the fact that we're supposed to be going into the high security sections and stuff like...
All right, hold on. Okay, hang on. He types again. He types in a new article at the end. Grantor of contract will be sure to convey all pertinent information during operational periods. And he looks at you and then types in, as deemed necessary for minimum standards of safety, as outlined in section 13-B. Happy?
I'm just going to glance over to 13-B. What is considered the minimum standards of safety?
Enough to get you to point A and set you up to, and this is not obviously in the actual jargon, but the gist of it is to actually get you there, to ensure that you have fair warning if anything should go awry, and that you have as much of a clear escape plan as can be provided through reasonable effort on the part of the contract grantor.
Right. I'm a little suspicious on that reasonable effort, but yes, that looks okay so far.
Okay. And then let me see here. Shall make no claims to future profits of said information or devices.
Okay.
That okay?
Yep.
All right, and last one here. Any and all renown claims shall be split with a 70-30 split regarding contractor and contractee agreement.
Who gets which part?
Well, obviously I'm the 70.
For the results, yeah, but if we end up having to fight anyone while we're there, that should be the other way around. That bit. It's hard to decide.
Come on, Alicia, you're breaking my back here.
Okay, we'll just go with that one. It's not like I'm low on renown anyway.
All right. And this last part.
Did you recommend a decent Adrin? Because I challenged Blitzkrieg for my Frosten, and Honors is busy with his wife, and kind of need to find one for my challenge.
Contemplates the Mercy. I heard he just became Adrin.
Yeah, he could do.
Anyhow, and then this last part, contractees will refer to the contractor by his operational name of Livewire at all times during operation.
It's a bit weird.
Well,
okay.
Makes me feel like I'm important.
Okay, but accidental use of any other name is not considered a breach of contract. Just deliberate or repeated. Because if I accidentally forget and call you the wrong name, then...
Types in limit of up to 5 incidental uses of other monikers.
Okay, that seems reasonable. Right. And devices can only be referred to as information gathering device, not by any more detailed description.
Proprietary Intel devices.
Proprietary Intel devices. Can we put gathering in there?
No. If anybody who's not smart enough to know what that means, that's on them.
Okay, but you need to inform Blitzkrieg in whatever terms he needs, because he's the warden. He needs to know.
If he has any questions, please refer him to me. I will deal with it in kind.
Okay. So we need to put in there that you will keep Blitzkrieg informed of the results from. No, not Blitzkrieg. Keep the warden of the sept, whoever that may be at the time, informed of any pertinent information for the safety of the sept.
Oh, that's not necessarily necessary, is it? I mean, we're all working here in good faith, right?
We were, if it was going to be a one-page contract. If you're going to put in loads of stuff like how I'm not allowed to say that it's basically a high-tech Umbra bug, then...
Yeah. He types in there begrudgingly. There. Happy?
I still think high-tech Umbra bug would sound better. But proprietary Intel device it is. I will have to try and remember that. Okay. I think we have an agreement.
Very well. Just simply... And he brings up a thumb device and plugs it into the tablet. Simply place your thumb on that and spend a point of gnosis, please.
Okay. So you didn't say anything about the gnosis beforehand.
Well, I told you it was a spiritual contract.
Okay. And she's going to do that.
And you hear a little chime, and you see a little sprite like animation that looks oddly like a spirit appear on the screen. And it seems to take the pages and roll them up and place it into its pocket, and then gives Alicia a big thumb up with a happy smile.
He'll give it a little thumb up as well.
All right, Miss Haywood. He'll place the tablet back in his bag. It's a pleasure doing business with you.
Okay, so now I need all the information-y stuff on where exactly we're supposed to be going.
I will send you information on the day of the operation.
Okay.
I will hand deliver them. Do not worry about that part. All I can tell you is that you need to make sure that you are well prepared for eventualities of combat with Weaver spirits. I don't think you'll have a problem, but the way the cyber realm works, there's no way to guarantee that.
Okay. But if I don't know how many places we're going and what places are like, how am I going to know how many people we need?
It's going to be 4 places. They are areas of data access points, basically where data streams cross through actual spiritual/physical constructs.
So, places where they'd connect to this realm?
It's kind of a crossroad of sorts. Kind of like a convergence of strands from Umbra realms, if that makes any sense.
A little bit.
Trust me, when you see them, they're these giant towers that have what look like webs going off into the sky that go into these little glowing orbs, which are, as far as I can tell, representations of other Umbral realms and the Tellurian realm, apparently.
Okay.
I would highly recommend you don't touch the actual web wires that are part of the devices. They don't take kindly to being touched, and they tend to alert everybody to your presence.
Okay.
It's some delicate work, I will be honest. But you seem like a capable sort, so I think you'll be okay.
Right.
And I have improved my design since the last time I was there.
Okay.
What else? Also, if you see what looks like a giant maggot with teeth made out of data bits, hide.
Right, because my first instinct when seeing a giant maggot with big teeth of shiny stuff would be to go and hug it.
Well, the last guy that went didn't run when I told him to run.
Okay. Given that these things are communicating thingamajigs, take a few information, presumably you have some kind of earphones that will work while we're there.
Oh, right. And he reaches into his bag and pulls out what looked to be like earpieces with a little transceiver that goes to a wire that's supposed to be worn onto a belt into like a little pack. These will work while I'm in the Umbra with you. They won't work when I'm here. So I actually will be joining you somewhat on this little adventure.
Okay. But if the pattern spiders kind of...
Oh, I'm not leaving the sept. I'll be in the Umbra, but I'm not leaving the sept.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. You probably don't want to be getting eaten while you're trying to organize things.
Yeah. Again, they're not really trying to eat me. They just want to make me their queen. He says with kind of a nonchalant smirk.
I kind of thought that was what glasswalkers wanted.
What kind of sick stuff do you think we're into?
Like being in charge of the internet and pulling all the strings.
We are in charge of the internet, Miss Haywood. And he says that with all seriousness in his face.
Okay, so see, that is something you're into.
Again, when you put it the way you do, it makes it sound weird and terrible.
Well, weird, maybe. Terrible, no. But then, given that we're werewolves, weird kind of comes with the territory.
Too true, it is a relative term. So, you'll get your Glasswalker packmate. Hang on for just a second. And he goes into his laptop and types in a password. I had a listing of everybody in here. Aren't you a 3-man pack?
We were.
What do you mean were?
Recently, Keegan was shot.
Oh. Okay. Sorry to hear that.
I mean, we we were already looking at trying to expand slightly, but it's tricky because we've kind of established a certain amount of territory, and we'd have to kind of bring people in on that, and some people, I mean, you kind of have to know that they're going to want to join before inviting them to join, because stuff. But oh well, we'll manage. We always manage somehow.
Well,
Hey, I guess if I can handle being on a giant crab ship, I can handle going to the cyber realm, probably.
you know, someday we're gonna find that crab ship, and I'm gonna own it.
I'm not sure you'd want to. It's not a very nice place.
Oh no, we're gonna take all the nasty bits out of it. But gosh, can you imagine all of that technology in there?
Yes, I can.
Can you imagine what a glasswalker could do with that?
I would really rather not. You didn't see what some of those things were.
Well, obviously we're not going to keep the stuff that was on the inside, as far as the nasty bits. But the machines themselves, wondrous. I think we could finally find ways to repurpose and retool Weaver spirits with this thing. But it's just a theory.
I don't know. I think it would very much depend on who was doing it. It could go very, very horribly wrong.
Maybe. I just see. There's another project I've been working on, Alicia. It's gonna change the entire game. I've been working on a signal to hack in to the hunter spiders and repurpose them for our designs.
Right. Well, that sounds kind of helpful, but at the same time, they do sort of already have a purpose. It's out of balance, but it's there.
Well, I've been thinking about uploading a virus into one of them and seeing if I could make it target its own kind rather than ours. If that worked,
Getting it to stop targeting us, definitely a good thing. But maybe if it could transmit this virus instead of destroying other hunter spiders, and maybe kind of, because I don't know, I just kind of think the spiders are there for a reason, in a way.
Well, they are there to guardian over the pattern web, and then and the other webs that lead such into the internet. But anyways, just imagine if we could make them all either cease to be and or possibly just work for us instead of the Weaver. Then we would truly be wardens of the internet.
Yes, but...
And eventually possibly wardens of the Weaver itself.
Yes, but the problem with that is that sometimes spirits cause changes, but other times they're caused by the changes in our realm. And you can't really just get rid of the webs because they just come back again because there's people doing all the weaver stuff.
Well, I mean, you've seen the Umbral haven't you?
Yes.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, it looks like a garden that's just been let to grow, right?
So trimming it back is different to wanting to get rid of it.
Trimming it back, landscaping it, making it to our design. Tomato, tomato. It's kind of the same thing.
I think there's just a difference between pruning and weeding, if you see what I mean.
Well, it would definitely take a massive, massive amount of pruning, where certain places might even require sort of like a controlled burn wildfire.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But if you see what I mean, it's not the methods, it's the design. If you're aiming for destruction, then you'll get destruction. If you're aiming for creation...
Well, the way I see it, and the way some others see it, is the Weaver's outlived her usefulness. It's time to supplant her and put the Gaians in charge of what's going on in there. Because, you know...
Is it possible for the very force that is supposedly keeping matter in its, matter state rather than all fluxy,
Anything is possible if you're
to
willing to
outlive
put the
its
time.
usefulness?
Well, she already proved that she's kind of a psychopath. I mean, look what she did to the worm.
But again, it kind of comes down to the difference between a... Okay, say you've got this forest.
Uh-huh.
You want to do a controlled burn, and then you can look after that area and turn it into pasture, and it will grow for ages. Or you do almost the same thing, but you turn it into farmland, and it ends up with all the goodness being washed away by erosion, and it's just a mess. And you end up having to burn another bit and another bit and another bit. So there's differences. It might not seem like a big difference, but if your focus is on making things better rather than getting rid of things, it can make a bigger difference.
All right, fair enough. Let's say that that farmer has ownership of all the land in his farm, which includes a huge amount of forest. Certain areas are still certainly pasture area, and they're working okay. But his forest, he's let overgrow to the point where ivy weeds have started to grow, and they're taking over everything, killing off all the other plant life.
Like I said, there's a huge difference. Even though the methods are the same, in a controlled burn that's designed to help the environment, and a controlled burn that's designed to strip the environment of its resources.
Well, the idea behind it is, we take care of the farmer, and when we take care of the farmer, basically bring him under our sway or simply remove him, his farm hands then have to listen to us. His farm hands go out and they cultivate and whatnot, and we have a nice ordered area. Rather than this just wild growth that goes everywhere.
Yeah, but the weaver isn't the farmer. You're the farmer.
No, the weaver's the farmer.
No. In this example, the weaver is the forest.
Okay, now you're just talking semantics.
Right. But all I'm saying is destroying the weaver or getting rid of the weaver, it seems like a bad plan. Whereas trying to bring everything back into balance, admittedly, it's a lot harder. But if that is your aim, then that seems a better plan than just removing it altogether because it's too big.
Well, we've thought about possibly custom designing a virus for the weaver itself, but we have to get close enough to be able to study it. That's been troublesome thus far. That's what the hunter spiders are for. They can go anywhere they want. If we were able to control one, send it towards the weaver's realm, and see her for the first time and what she actually looks like, I think it's entirely possible we can find out enough about her to put a virus that would transmit to her eventually and put her out of direct control of the pattern web.
See, that's different to getting rid of her altogether.
I never said I wanted to get rid of all of her together. I just
You
basically
said you
want
were
to.
talking about how she was obsolete and needed to be removed.
Well, she is obsolete, but we don't want to destroy her. We just
She's
want
not obsolete. She's just overgrown.
to.
You don't say just because the forest is overgrown that we don't need forests anymore. Just need better forests.
Well, I think we could be better forests. But that's just me. Anyways, that's just a theory I have. It's nothing I can bring to fruition. I have to actually get my hands on a hunter spider. I'd have to do it, and then I'd have to study it, and hopefully it doesn't try and cut my arm off with its chainsaws and its flamethrowers and its laser beams. And then he stops and he looks at Alicia. Don't suppose you'd be interested in a second contract?
Let's just deal with this bit first.
Okay, all right, fine. This will be one where I pay you, but it's okay. All right. I will contact you within the week to tell you when I am ready to do this thing.
Plus, theoretically, the information from this could then be used to help us locate a hunter spider that is well away from any other spiders and easier to target. See? One thing at a time. Although, to be fair, I often end up having to do half a dozen things at the same time because they all need doing right away. But that's not the case with this.
Yeah. Okay. Was there anything else you needed from me today, Alicia?
I don't think so. Though considering... No, I can't think of anything else. Except after this, when this is all done, you could probably talk with Donald about a security system-y thing when we're at the same time as we're discussing this hunter spider thing. Like I said, we've kind of got a bit of territory and it would be good to protect it a bit more.
More layers of complication, but yes, we can discuss terms at a later date.
Yep.
Well, Miss Haywood, I thank you for doing business with me, and I will be in contact.
Okay, and I will see who else I can rope into this. Because at the moment, the only person who has signed that is me.
True. Just remember that anybody that you bring on to this contract is still bound by the same tenets of said contract.
Yep.
So please make it very clear that when you bring them on, that they are agreeing to be legally bound through you.
Okay. Though, if I could get a printout of that contract, that would be good too.
Oh, absolutely. And he'll reach into his bag and hand you a little thumb drive.
Okay. Was there anything you wanted to talk about?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I could get on to you with a whole pattern web theory conversation that I was going to have. How much time do you have today?
Well, I've got some more brambles to plant later, but nothing that I need to rush about.
Well, then maybe you can hear my dissertation and see how it will go with my tribal elders.
Okay, but
It should only take like
yoga.
6 hours, and he literally pulls out the other large thing from his bag, and it's a stack of paper, probably closer to the size of like 3 encyclopedias on each other.
I'm not sure I would understand all of that.
Oh, it's okay. I'll take my time, and you can ask questions where applicable.
I think my limit when it comes to pages is probably about 10. I'm afraid. I thought you meant actually like discussing, but you know.
Fine.
Sorry, it's just I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask.
No, it's okay. It's all right. I know laymen are not into these sort of things.
I mean, I probably wouldn't expect you to know exactly the right way to handle rose bushes in order to get the best blooms or the best hips or the best different or leaf coverage or training them up trellises, all those kind of different things. I wouldn't expect you to know those. So yeah, I think it's good that everyone has different areas. Like you said, if everyone else had that idea to go putting the proprietary Intel devices in places, then what would be the point in you doing it? So it's good that everybody has different ideas and different interests.
Yeah. He looks somewhat dejected as he puts the dissertation back into his bag. Well, anyways, Miss Haywood, I guess I have some work to do, so I will bid you adieu.
Okay, I can't remember the quote exactly, but it's something like, if you can't explain something in really simple terms, then you don't understand it well enough or something. So if you want to try and put it, just the gist, the main aim, rather than all the data and stuff to support it, as to what you're trying to put in your dissertation into like 10 or 20 words, or probably more like 100, but still, what would be the blurb on the back of the book?
He just kind of crosses his arms and looks incredulously up at Alicia.
Well, imagine your dissertation is a book. What would you put on the back? It doesn't even have to explain everything properly, just enough to give an idea of what it's about. Because I might not understand your dissertation, and I might not be the person to talk to about your dissertation, but I do think it would probably be helpful if you knew that you could do that. You could sum it up, or like if it was a newspaper article. You know how they start off with the really important bits, and then they get longer and longer and longer.
Mm-hmm.
What would the first paragraph be? What would the first few lines be in a newspaper article?
You know what? Don't worry about it.
Okay. Like I said, it's not so much about being able to tell me, just you might have more confidence in your dissertation if you knew that you could do that. You could sum it all up really, really succinctly, and then could go into all the detail over why this bit is true and that bit is true and the other thing is true. But I will leave you to working that bit out, and good luck. It looks very in depth. And I look forward to hearing from you. And then Alicia is going to very carefully make her way out. And there the scene will end.